Okay, good morning, everyone. It is a very, very cold January morning here in Ireland, and this is a little bit of a different view for you guys, but I want to show you stuff for the next project. So we're heading out to the workshop. Oh, it is cold. Okay, so first thing you're going to notice, why is there a bit of a bed in my workshop? Well, that is going to be part of today's project. So you've not seen much of this before probably, but this is my workshop. It is tiny, but I make the best of it. You'll notice that we've got these workbenches now. I guess the perspective is probably quite hard to see, but these are actually quite high workbenches. So I'm about 6 foot tall, and I don't like leaning over much, so I made these workbenches very, very high. So they're kind of up to middle of my sort of lower sort of middle of my torso. So they're pretty tall. I mean, I could probably measure them and tell you exactly how tall they are. I think they're about 1.1 meters, or 110 centimeters, I think. Yeah, 110 centimeters, thereabouts. Another thing that this workshop doesn't have is a stool. So I'm standing in here all the time, which I don't like either. So recently enough, we had a problem with our bed, and IKEA graciously sent us out some replacement parts for the bed. And the part that we had a problem with was the bed, the lap base thing, Lancet, I think it's called. So this is the old one, and they just sent us out new parts and left us with the old stuff. But the wooden stuff is pretty decent, so I want to make something out of it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disassemble this. I'm going to use this to build a stool for the workshop. So this bit of the main kind of bits on the side are going to be used to form the legs of the stool, and then I'm going to try do something which I've not done before, and that is I'm going to take these slats, and they kind of have an interesting pattern. There's some white ones and some grey ones, so I'm going to layer those, try and laminate them together, and make the seat out of these. And it's kind of, I was trying to think of what to do with them, but if you notice they're curved and they're kind of flexible. So I'm kind of struggling to figure out what to actually do with these. So I think that is going to be something I'm going to try anyway with at least a few of them. You can try and laminate them together, and then I'll sort of cut them and shape them into sort of a like a dish shape seat for the stool. So that's what I'm going to do now. You want me to make a bed? You want me to make a stool out of a bed? Yeah. Okay, there we go. We've got pretty much all of our raw materials ready, and there's a lot of wood comes off of this thing once it's disassembled. So it's pretty much ready to use raw materials like that, and that's fantastic. When do you ever just get a piece like that, huh? So the only thing I have to do to prep this is I have to remove these little rubber guys that are held on with, it seems, just a bunch of little staples. So I've got to remove all of those rubber guys from the main lengths. Then I've got all my raw materials ready. So the first thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to prep these guys for laminating them and see how that goes. Okay, so I have my clamping set up here. Got all my slats clamped together nicely with some weight pressing down on them, trying to flatten the whole thing out. And yeah, I'm gonna get ready to try and laminate them. I've never done this before, so yeah, I'm not really certain how well it's gonna work out, but we're gonna give it a shot anyway. I've also decided that I'm not certain with when I laminate these together. I'm not certain how well they'll stick. Or like, you know, so there's a lot of this, you know, through here. This is like they're long seams, and I'm worried that they might just crack in half. So I've decided to do something that I also don't think is going to work. But basically, I've gotten this sheet of aluminium, and I'm going to laminate them to this. So that'll be sort of on the underside, and we'll see how that works. I don't have a lot of confidence that that's going to work at all, but I'm going to try, see what happens. I only have wood glue, so the bond might end up being a bit hard, and then as that, you know, heats and expands and contracts, it might just separate. And the same with the wood, as the wood absorbs moisture and then expands and contracts, that hard bond between the aluminium and the wood might just crack. So, but yeah, we'll try it, see what happens. The aluminium is cheap, and I have a lot more of these slats. So if I need to redo it, it's not the end of the world. I can do that. I don't like wasting materials, but still, it's worth it just for an experiment. So I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna get prepped. Gonna rough up some of the surfaces. They're gonna accept glue, and yeah, then I'm gonna bond the whole lot together and probably leave it sit for a couple of days to cure, and then take it out, mark out the size that I want, and then I'll cut all that out on jigsaw. Alright, it's been a few days since we laminated these pieces, so they should be cured by now, and we're going to demold it and see what happens. I have absolutely no idea if this has worked, but we'll see. Hopefully it worked out, but anyway, let's do it. So the mold released pretty easily. It seems my strategy of all this tape on the mold seems to have done a good job of meaning that I didn't just make an even thicker piece of plywood by laminating the plywood itself to the board. That would have been a hell of a lot harder to take apart otherwise. But it's all in one piece. Appears to be anyway, and it seems to be pretty solid, which I'm fairly happy with. The back is on there. It's bonded. Seems to be like pretty solid. Again, the same time will tell about the problems I was concerned about expansion and contraction and stuff, and whether this all comes apart. And then the surface of this isn't great. There's obviously a lot of glue leakage, and because of they're all uneven, the pieces originally, and there's some gaps. There's glue here that all spilled over, which it'll all be cleaned up, it'll be fine. But some of that is actually still soft. Some of this glue isn't quite set on the surface, so releasing it from the mold should help that solidify. But I think everything else, like all the pieces that are structural, appear to be together. This is essentially one piece. Few bits. See, I didn't glue all the way to the ends, so I can feel a bit of movement there. But I mean, I'm only using the center piece of this really, so I'm going to be cutting it. You know, there'll be sort of that sort of shape is what's going to be used of it. So I'm reasonably happy with that. But I still can't really use it yet because this glue is not dry fully. So I'll release it from the mold. I can remove that whole rig off my workbench to use it for other things. And yeah, then I'll wait for this. Once it's fully dried and cured, I'll cut it out the shape that I want, and then I'll start doing the sanding and finishing, and then make the legs and everything for it. But reasonably happy with that. So that's a success. And I think we're done. This went way worse than I thought I was going to do. Apparently I really, really suck at woodworking. But it was fun, and it works. It's like an actual stool that I can sit on. So, you know what? I was going to make this really pretty. I was going to do, like, you know, try and make it real nice, but I think I'm just going to leave it. It's literally, it's just out here for me to lean against more or less while I'm working, so I don't have to stand all the time. It's small, sits out of the way. Yeah, that's it. It's nothing impressive. I would not hope that no one takes this as advice from a master carpenter on how to build a stool. It is not. But what it is a functional stool that is made out of recycled bits of IKEA furniture. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed.